Unspoken Issues.
All right. Ghost Rider Blaze Spirits of Vengeance #1. Written by Howard Mackey. Art by Adam Kubert. Colored by Gregory Wright. Lettered by Michael Heisler. So here's a couple new characters that pop up in here. First one I want to bring up is Pilgrim. I mean, I've got his first appearance listed here as last issue. So he popped up in Ghost Rider Volume 3, number 28, but it was just like a real short time. He is a demon Lilin with the ability to open rifts/portals with his claws. Okay. Then we have Creed, one of the more interesting Lilins that we have, but his first and last appearance are this issue. So
never comes back.
He never comes back, according to Marvel fandom, marvel.fandom.wiki. So Creed is a Lilin who had wished to distance himself from his origins by secluding in a temple, but when asked to do his mother's bidding, when Lilith comes a calling, he does so, but you could tell that he doesn't want to harm others. So it's an interesting dynamic to have this Lilin who's like, I don't want to be a Lilin. He doesn't want to go around killing people. He doesn't want to hurt humanity. So he's just kind of like, I don't want anything to do with that. And then as we see in this book, even though his mom shows up and says, I need you to do this, he abides by what she says, but it's like, I don't want to harm anybody. His power set is weird.
Very.
That synopsis is coming up, but first let me talk about Amazon Music. If you're looking for a good platform that can fill those musical needs, Amazon Music has you covered. If you head to getamazonmusic.com/W2M network, you can get a free 30-day trial where you can check out over 70 million songs. That's getamazonmusic.com/W2M network for that free 30-day trial.
So escaping the police, Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze finally get some time to figure out their next move. Ghost Rider tells Blaze of his vision of Lilith returning to Earth and her plans of bringing more of her Lilin into this dimension. Heading back to the carnival he calls home, Johnny Blaze wants to check on his wife and kids and also get some much-needed rest. However, a nightmare wakes him, causing him to seek out the carnival psychic Clara Menninger, who tells him he is going to need to help out Ghost Rider, or he and his family could become the hunted. In Greenland, a couple of scientists happen upon a dead Leviathan, and inside, coming alive and bursting forth, is Lilith, finally escaping her Atlantean-born prison. Shortly after, one of her children, a man by the name of Pilgrim, opens a portal and takes her through so that they can begin the process of reuniting her Lilin. Appearing at a church, they find Creed, who claims at first to not want anything to do with Pilgrim. But once he realizes his mother, Lilith, has indeed returned, he pledges his allegiance to her. Creed also finds Blackout watching from a window and brings him in. We learn that Blackout is the grandchild of Lilith, and he swears to serve her as well. Lilith and her Lilin travel to the carnival and attack Blaze's family, taking his son Craig as a hostage. Blaze and Ghost Rider leap into action and rescue Craig and fight off the Lilin, causing them to retreat. At the end of the battle, Clara finds them and tells them their next destination should be to find a Martine Bancroft, who happens to be in a New York hotel, room 616. As the pair leave, Clara exchanges words with Doctor Strange, who just happens to show up at the end, or maybe he's been there this whole time, who knows, about the events that are going to unfold. Spirits of Vengeance #1. So this is our first issue of Spirits of Vengeance. Again, the purpose of this story is to launch these titles. So here's our first title that we get launched because of Rise of the Midnight Suns. We get another instance in this issue where Johnny kind of forgets how powerful his gun is. When he blows up a cop car accidentally. He Terminator 2's it, where he's gone down the road on the back of his bike. He shoots at the cop car and accidentally shoots hellfire, and it causes the cop car to flip over. And immediately he's like, oh crap, and he turns around and goes to help the cops out. So I love how they claim that Ghost Rider and Johnny claim that they've escaped the cops by they take their flaming bikes and sit on top of a bridge. And I'm like, I don't know if choosing the highest point on a bridge out in the middle of the river with your flaming bikes is going to escape the police, but they were able to pull it off somehow.
Nah, nobody's looking up there.
Nobody is. Hey, the bridge is on fire. Oh, it's all right. It's just Ghost Rider and Johnny Blaze. I kind of left this out of the synopsis, but after I was rereading everything I put in there, I wanted to make sure to bring this up at the end of what we covered. Obviously, Lilith coming back is a big deal. She comes back. That was kind of her goal. But what really set her in motion to be the villain of this piece is the fact after killing the scientists, I think she grabs some entrails. I think this is from the Leviathan itself, and does some kind of spell so she could kind of see what the future is. And what she ends up seeing is a vision of her Lilin dead at the hands of Ghost Rider and his band of Merry Midnight Suns. And she's like, this can't happen. So she wants to obviously stop that before it can actually unfold. And that's what sets her in motion here. She just wants to kind of make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's kind of the impetus for the rest of the crossover, really, is her trying to pick these guys off before basically she thinks if she can just get rid of one of those, that'll break this cycle and she'll be able to triumph or whatever.
What do you think of Creed here, man?
Yeah,
Give me your thoughts on Creed.
It's unfortunate that we never see him again.
I agree. I just want to say I agree 100% because it really upset me when I got in there and it said, first appearance and last appearance is this issue. And I even think I need to look at it, but I think it said his death was this issue, which I disagree with. But anyway, go ahead.
Clearly, he's one of Lilith's children, so he's a demon. But he's in a temple. He's in these robes. He's got crosses all over him. So you would think he's some kind of like a
priest or something,
acting as kind of a monk, or he basically, as soon as Pilgrim shows up, he basically says, I gave all that up. That he says, old legends of an evil that is best forgotten. I was never your friend. I distanced myself from all of you. And then when he sees Lilith, it's like immediately he's back, on his knees. He can't resist her once he sees her.
I mean, first off, his power set's weird. He can detach parts of his body and send those parts out to do his bidding. I think the first time we see this is either with Pilgrim or it's with Blackout.
He just leaves his head floating and his body leaps at Pilgrim to attack him, but his head is still floating in the air, concentrating on whatever meditation or whatever he was doing.
Yeah, it's so weird. At first I was like, oh, so this guy just has detachable head. That's his power. And but no, that's not the case. He can also detach other parts of his body, such as his hands, and sends them flying with some type of supernatural projection. They're able to go out and do whatever he wants them to do. There's a point in this book, where they've got Craig, and of course Johnny Blaze is like, take me, leave my son alone. And he's all up for the trade because that's kind of like what Creed says. He's like, I don't want to hurt the kid. We just need you. That's what we need. So things break down during this whole discussion. I can't remember what happens, but I just know that the end result, Johnny Blaze using his Hellfire shotgun to shoot the pieces of stuff that's coming at him from Creed. Right. And you see them drop to the ground. But specifically, there is a point in the issue or a point after that fight where I think he shoots Creed's head. So at that point, you're like, okay, Creed's dead. But he's talking while his head is on the ground. So after he gets shot and he's talking at that point, Lilith comes and picks him up. And then at the end of the issue, they're back at his temple and she just
leaves his head there. And I guess his body was left on the carnival grounds, basically.
And I'm like, oh man, come on, this dude, it's got to come back at some point, right? Nope, that's it. He's dead.
We're not gonna hold Marvel to that.
I guess. Hey, this is.
But I wouldn't hold my breath on seeing Pilgrim pop back up 28 years later or whatever.
Yeah. So Doctor Strange again at the end. I will say that the art on this one is probably my favorite of the series.
Adam Kubert is just on fire, pretty much.
Yeah, dude.
No pun intended. It opens with a 2-page splash of Blaze and Ghost Rider kind of charging forward with the cops behind them. And on the second page, the reason Johnny kind of lashes out, they're getting shot at by the cops. One of the cops kind of wings his sunglasses.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a bullet hole in his sunglasses, and Kubert keeps putting that cracked lens with a bullet hole for the next 2 pages. Every time you see his glasses, he's keeping that detail in, and like the detail in all of these pages pretty much is incredible.
Yeah, I think everything really came together very well. It just looks fantastic.
Lilith in the Leviathan that she was kind of imprisoned in, it's just been rotting there for centuries.
It's cold down there. I think that might have been Kurt Russell that found this Leviathan. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the inspiration for those characters. But yeah, there's in the wiki page for Lilith, and maybe the fandom page, that they mentioned that is probably the body of Tiamat, which is like a Babylonian goddess. I'm not familiar, but that's like a part of Babylonian mythology, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And I guess they kind of wrote that into her origin later on, which is kind of interesting. The Carnival, I'm not sure if these other characters in the Quentin Carnival existed in the old Ghost Rider series from the 70s. But, Blaze is here with his family, and a lot of...
definitely got some character.
Yeah, a lot of those characters, that's basically the supporting cast for the Spirits of Vengeance book. They play a bigger part as the series goes on. And it's a pretty colorful cast of carnies.
Now, listen, I just real quick, as I was flipping through the issue here, I didn't keep track in our first issue, but I know that Blackout getting pulled through the window by Creed's hand is broken window number 1 of 1,000. As we...
Yeah, we see a lot of this.
Anyway, go ahead.
Speaking of Blackout, he goes straight for Blaze's family. Like,
oh yeah, he does.
What a jerk. That's his MO. Go for the human counterparts that aren't going to be able to defend themselves.
And it's like
he did the same thing to Danny.
Yep, did the exact same thing to Danny, 25. And then he's wanting to do the same thing to Ghost Rider. He was like, okay, hey, Danny's the weak spot. I go for Danny. What a jerk.
I don't know if you picked out panel of the issue for any of these books.
Ooh, well, no, I did not have anything. I
forgot to mention it in the first issue, but obviously it would be the Vision with the big spread, 3 or 4 page spread or whatever. But in this one, my favorite panel was like the long panel of Blaze shooting Creed the first time, and you see like the flames out of the barrel and out of where the shotgun shell would pop out. Just really intense image of him unloading with that Hellfire shotgun.
I will go with our first Lilith, really like full out of Tiamat. All she's kind of laying there. She's kneeling after being freed. That's a really good look at her visual where she's got the horns, but I have no idea if it's hair or if it's like flaps of skin in between that. But yeah, she looks pretty imposing there. Pretty scary looking gal. The Lilith demon mother is reborn.
One last thing for this issue.
Yeah.
Cooper's just showing off with this Blackout Ghost Rider fist fight. I don't have page numbers in this trade here, but Blackout's going for Blaze and his kid, and Ghost Rider wraps him up with the chain and then just smashes his face with one punch. And then there's a panel with 3, back and forth punches going back and forth between Blackout and Ghost Rider. And they're all 3 are really interesting, especially the second one where Ghost Rider uses like a double, he's got his 2 hands clenched together for like a double fist. And it looks like Blackout's face is like a Looney Tunes character almost. Just another, example of Adam Kubert nailing this issue.
When it comes to action, dude,
honestly, he's really kind of letting loose with kind of almost like an Image style, like super energetic, bombastic, visuals and stuff. But it all still flows really well. Like it's not just static images that like some people could maybe accuse some of the Image guys of having. It all flows really well, and it's just really impressive. And he does, I think, off and on, he does the first 12 issues of Spirits of Vengeance. I think there may be a couple of fill-ins in there. And he's incredible through that whole run. He has an issue with a Ghost Rider Venom fight that's pretty amazing. And then when Vengeance shows up, the action sequences he does are really incredible.
This would be a good time to plug a sponsor of the W2M network, and that is Grammarly. For you, the listeners of Unspoken Issues, Grammarly is offering a free download of the Grammarly software. Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. To download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/W2M network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M network to download Grammarly for free. Foregoing the longer form plugs on these shorter episodes, I'll just remind you to go check out the UnspokenDecade.com for some great articles regarding comics from the 1990s. You can follow Chris Armstrong on Twitter at BrodyMan34 and myself at Stiznarkey on Twitter. And we are pretty active on our Facebook page. Just search for the Unspoken Issues Podcast. Stay safe, everyone, and tune in tomorrow for the next chapter of Rise of the Midnight Suns.